Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. For this one, we're going to be covering a few different bits and pieces. We've had some donations which I do want to share with you guys, and as you can see in the background, we've obviously got the stripe painted and the body in colour for the Starsky and Hutch Torino. That's kind of ready to be foiled and what have you, and clear coated, but there's definitely not enough to dedicate a full video for that alone. And also, I've been going through collection. I've been trying to kind of start writing down what projects I really want to do for the channel in the future. And in all fairness, we're coming up to Christmas, and I know money's going to get a little bit sort of tight around here. So I'm sort of the main reason I'm planning my projects is because I'm gonna have to let go of some of my stuff from my collection. I don't worry that's it's what I do all the time. Occasionally I'll go through and get rid of duplicates and things like that. So, but the reason I'm building nowadays is for the channel. It's great to get me back to the bench. So I thought we'd do a little bit of future planning, and I'll show you some of them ones I've picked out. And it's going to be a movie sort of movie car related episode, this, so to speak. We won't venture far off that, but I mean, we'll get this thing out the way first. By the way, I'm not going to show these ones in the back in great detail. I'll do a separate video on them at some point. Sorry to disappoint you, but there's other stuff which we're going to easily fill our time with today. But yeah, we got the stripe turned out really well, to be quite honest, on this thing. I got a tiny little bit of red blow through there, but that's just going to get polished off before we clear coat it. Other than that, the pinstripe's really neat and everything, and I'm really happy with the shade of the white I put on there, that ivory white. It does set it off for me rather than having a bright white stripe on there. But I think in my last video I said that I wasn't gonna put the chassis back on until it was time to build it, but you can't do that, can you? You just gotta see what it looks like kind of straight away. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that all turned out nice. Once it's foiled, we'll clear coat it all, and I think the only thing I want to mask off again is inside the engine bay here, so it doesn't turn gloss or anything. Really pleased I chose not to do the firewall in body colour. I think it would have just, personally, I think it would have just looked a bit messy for me, and that's just a really nice clean engine bay. So I will mask that up before, but yeah, there's really not much else to show on that, hence why I didn't do an update video. And I think the next video you'll see this, it'll be it's going to be the final. It'll be pre-assembled, and for the first half of the video, and then we'll shoot the final little bit in the second part of that video. So, but yeah, really pleased with that. Thought I'd just show you that quickly. Now for channel update, channel donation, is actually my brother. My brother's follows the channel, and I really appreciate that, as I do with everybody else, who follows and subscribes. It's a great boost for us here, to be quite honest with you. But he gifted me, he dropped me a message, and he said, I'm moving, I'm got a bit of stuff for duplicates and stuff like that, and I'm going to drop them round at mum and dad's. So I popped round there the other day, and everything was there, and I was really overwhelmed with what he sent first of all, and I just can't show all of it just because time wise for these videos. But it bought me a little, well, I'm not saying he bought me, but he had an extra sort of mini drill kind of thing. So, and in all fairness, I've had my the one I use I've had since I was probably 13 or 14, and I've still used it on all the projects. And the only thing about that one, which I've got, is like modern plugs, you know, they're not bad, but the plug on that other thing, it's like lifted a ton weight out of the drawer. It just makes it a little bit cumbersome to use. So I'm really chuffed with that. I have been looking at buying something a little bit newer, and you know, that's just brilliant to me. You know, he's popped some tools in there, and some more sprue snippers and what have you, and which I'm really happy for, because the Tamiya ones I bought, I never thought they were great from get-go, to be honest. I know a lot of people rate the Tamiya ones, but I've used lesser, cheaper ones and they seem a lot better, but you know, maybe I just got a bad set or something. So I'm really happy for them. Been looking at a new set of, I know these aren't expensive or anything, but I've been going into local shop who sells these, and I keep looking at them, and I keep just doing with what I've got, and so it's great to have a new set in a box like I used to keep them all. But things like, you know, tweezers and stuff, so I'm really chuffed for them, because, and it couldn't have come at a better time, because to be quite honest with you, I took after building on the channel for 8 or 9 months, and I do try and keep, I mean, I have to keep my bench tidy because I've got cats and it'll just end up with stuff all over the place, like, but you know, it does, your drawers start getting a little bit messed up, and the other week I'd completely cleared out my drawers, resorted all them, so really good timing for that. It also gifted me a lot of kits, well, saying a lot of kits, I mean, there's about, I think he gave me about 12 kits or something. And like I say, I won't show them all on the channel, but I'll show the one which really spoke to me, and this is one of them. I've bought and sold this kit many times, and I've never bought one unless they've come in like duplicates in a collection I've bought or something like that. But I've always bought one with the intention of building one, just because I have a big interest in the pro sportsmen's. I think this was a really great era for Revel. All the drag cars they did were absolutely, you know, outstanding, I thought. So, but yeah, I mean, the thing is, when I've had these before, it's always, you know, time to pay bills, and you know, I know I can get half decent money for these still. So, you know, they've always been the type of kit that goes, and that's the same with quite a lot of the other kits that my brother gave me, Dom. And they're all kind of this era or a little bit newer. So, I'd like to say, I'll just have to, otherwise, if I was to show everyone, we'd just be looking at kit after kit, and you know, I can do that in another video when we've got a little bit more time. But this one, yeah, like, because I've been gifted it, I don't ever give away stuff that I've been gifted, or sell stuff that I've been gifted. So everything that was in that box, you know, it's they're the ones which will stay, and I'll make use of them one way or another. But yeah, great series of kits these. I think there was the 55 Chevy and the 58 Plymouth. But I think that'd make a nice channel build one day with this. I've already backed it up and everything, sorted everything out, so I know I can put it on the shelf and not worry about bits rattling around the box and what have you. But it's such a fantastic kit, and thank you, Dom, for all you sent me. Really appreciate it. Dom had also, I've already also shown me interest in doing a bit of weathering, so he's kindly lent me all these weathering books, and it's the first time I've really looked at a weathering book, and I found it really fascinating, to the point where I've gone online, I found this one second hand, and I found that one second hand, and I've just bought them as well. So again, thank you, Dom. You know, I'm going to look at all of these before I hand them back. And if you're watching, I've already packed that big box with the planes. I showed you. So the box that Dom sent me is just getting filled up with old World War II planes, Lancasters and the Memphis Belle and stuff like that. So, but not only that, Dom sent me a message. Sorry, I'm just leaning down, so I might sound like I'm walking away from the camera. But yeah, this was the other thing. Dom sent me a message and said that he'd heard me talking about concept cars, and it's definitely the direction I want to go in for any kind of customs that I do in the future. And I've seen Tim's videos recently that he'd uploaded where it showed all the cars at that show and all the model cars at that show, and it included some of the original concept cars, models of the concept cars and stuff. And if you go over to Tim's channel, I'll put a link in this description for Tim. But it's on a 3-part, I think it's a 3-part or 2-part series, and of his road trip to that car show. But we had this book as a kid, and the reason why I don't remember much of it is because it's massive and it weighs an absolute ton. And I remember as a kid to pull this thing out of the bookshelf with the weight of it. It was like trying to pull out Excalibur's sword from the stone. And hence why I never bothered reading it much. But there's so much stuff in this. I mean, I think this was published in 1981 or 82. I think it was 81. And I think the price on it was about, I think it was $49.95. $49.95 in 1981. So definitely not a cheap book at all to buy at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's just I just can't show it on it. It's just there's so much stuff in this book. I'd highly recommend it because I just couldn't remember it showing all these like more modern concept stuff. I always thought it was just the 50s and 60s stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'll get it off the table. Thanks ever so much for that, Dom. I really appreciate that, as I do everything else you've sent me. But like I say, you're definitely getting a massive box of stuff back. So thank you ever so much for that. And that kind of brings us on to the last thing, where I said I was just looking at a few future projects, and I always like to build, if it's a movie car that's got sort of damaged throughout the movie, I always try and build two at the same time. I'll show you some stalled projects first. First of all, I started building some of the French Connection cars. I think it was 72 Le Mans, and this looks absolutely terrible right now. But I was building one as the damaged vehicle, and one as converting one into a factory stock, how it would have been undamaged and what have you. And I've just stalled on these. I think this is it's not the easiest kit to convert to a Le Mans, isn't this? The bonnet is completely different shape and what have you. I'd like to say it does look it looks, you're kind of wondering what all this filler is, and it's because when I do damage on a model car, it's not that I don't like using the foil method or anything like that, cutting the pie dishes apart and stuff, but even I've tried that, and it's never given me quite the right sort of look I've been after and what have you. And so I just reverted to using heat, and then I fill everything, and then I sort of carve the damage and the dents into the filler and sort of sculpture it that way, so I can get the best look I'm after. And it does work, like I say, it looks ropey as hell at the moment. It's in its very early stages, and there's a lot of work to be done. But I did study as many pictures of damage as I could to get it looking right. And I think once it's finished up, it'll look right enough. But I will quickly show this, just to show you the example of how that ends up looking out. And this was one which, this is actually an NPC, an original NPC Cyclone. Is a really rough builder. It had a cracked down middle of roof, and the rear light panel was completely missing or broken off and stuff. So it wasn't really worth anything else doing with it. But this was just the same method. When I heat it up, I used pliers just to get me sharp edges, and then I can sort of put the filler in and look at the pictures of the damage online, and then like over here with I think it was on this side where the damage it folds over in a wheel arch and stuff. So that turned out quite well. Like I say, I'll quickly show you that just to show you how, even though how bad that looks at the moment, but they do look all right once you finish them all up. And I just mocked up a chassis. I think the wheels are sitting far too high on that, but I've got another one here. So, and this was just a stock version I was doing, and I think it was this because like I say, I was working on both of them together, and it's one thing doing a damaged one. You can get away with things not being quite as accurate because you can bend it and you can make the damage sort of blend work for you, whereas the stock version was the undamaged version you got to get right. And the front ends, it's such a chew, and I think I just had enough of it, and they both went back in the box and never to be finished again. But I think I've dragged these out earlier in the year for something else, and I'm starting to get my enthusiasm back into it. And you might think, what the hell are all these on here? It's just by 72 they just really lost the definition of the arches. Just wanted to get a bit more definition in there. I got the top all sorted, and we just got to roll a bit of filler into the bottoms and blend that in a little bit more. But there, and in all fairness, it wasn't a bad thing that I sort of gave up on it, because I've learned a lot more with conversions. And I was just at the time just using whatever bits of scrap I could find to make the pillars, and then I'd have to build everything else around it. And I don't think I was that advanced. I mean, this was only like 4 or 5 years ago. I think I was playing around with these ones, and I think the wheels are off it. But I've got on here off. I think they're off the AMT display case trailer. I think they were the closest wheels I could find to the 72 Le Mans. So I was just going to dull them down a little bit and make them look more like aluminium. But so they're two ones which I wouldn't mind getting done, and I've written them down on the list of things. I mean, I've written a pretty big list of stuff, and I'm sure that'll change. But the second one, as you might have, I have just gifted. I suppose it's a bit of a trade with Sean. Showed some interest in comets and the javelins, and I've pretty much given Sean all my javelins, and just because I know he loves them more than me, and they're not the kind of kit I would sell just because I know I'd never probably get one again. But I could tell Sean really wanted them, and I had absolutely, it was a pleasure to send them over to him. But I did keep a couple of the these ones, the Hornets. And this is for, you'll probably guess what movie we're going to do with these, and these are the only two I kept. I think I sent John the one with the unbuilt one in box and what have you, but yeah, we're going to do a couple of James Bond cars were these ones. I mean, that's a lovely promo, is that? I think somebody just started sanding away the factory paint on it, or something quirky's happened on that. But no, absolutely lovely promo. That's going to make a really nice stock version for the James Bond film. Really easy build. We'll get all the rest of this paint stripped off it. I don't think I'd even be too fussed about cutting the hood out and making this a highly detailed thing. I'd just want, like these, I've ended up I put an engine in it and everything, but you know, I glued the hood shut on these. I didn't need to, you know, I think you don't need something like that with engine detail. I think, you know, you put enough detail into the body, like so. So that's the reason I've always kept that one. Came in like a nice little Joanne promo box as well. To be honest, I got loads of them. I don't know why. I don't know where the hell they've all come from, but then I want to do the stunt car as well, and because the stunt car really intrigued me, to be quite honest with you. There was, and this is just, I mean, I've got all the extra pieces for this. I'm just not going to drag them out and put them on the table, like, but yeah, the stunt car was, the chassis on it, from what I can see, was pretty much a fully custom chassis, sort of tube frame chassis, but they used the original, I think the original 6-cylinder still for that jump car. But my question is, and the reason why I wanted to include this in this video is that, you know, I've been looking at the pictures of the jump car online, and I was trying to figure out whether they'd actually sectioned the body and dropped it up and dropped these wheel arches up, or did they just radius the wheel arches more? And I've been on all the online sort of blogs about it, and these so-called bloggers, you know, all they do is copy the few lines. Yeah, all they put in their blog is like, you know, what everybody else has put in, that, you know, there was one seat in the middle and it's got like aluminium door panels, which I just thought was a terrible write-up on a car, especially because I think it sold recently in the last few years for about $250,000 or something. But the jump car's one I really want to do, and that'll just be a nice little side project. When we get round to doing them, and all these ones, they're all going to be double builds, and the amount of the work's going to probably go into the more special ones, or the damaged ones. Thought there'd be a nice little couple of projects to look forward to, and the more I keep looking at the pictures of that jump car on there, you know, the more I want to build it. That's definitely a favourite to do. And then really lastly, out of the movie cars, I mean, I did actually, saying a lie, I've got another one which is just recently purchased, but then there is, of course, you know, a lot of people probably won't instantly recognise this as a movie car, but, and I mentioned it in another, I think it was where I was looking around my collection, I pulled these out and I just couldn't remember the life of me the movie. I just remember it as a kid, and it was Fear is the Key, with the red Gran Torino, and the great car chase which was in that. I mean, I'd love to build them. I think there were like 68 Bonneville police cars in that and stuff, and you know, I'd love to build a couple of them for that movie as well. Well, wasn't that? Now I'm thinking of the James Bond. Pay no attention to what I'm saying, but yeah. So in that, I'm getting mixed up with James Bond. That's what I'm on about. So yeah. So So again, with this one, we'll do one as factory stock, undamaged, and then we'll do the other one as it was at the end of the car chase, with all the damage around it. And I do try and get them as close as I can. And I think the main thing I remember about the damage on that one was the rear valance, which was sort of bent over. It really annoyed me how that damage happened. Or how it looked to some of it, because the rear valance was peeled off either side and it was sort of bent out in a V shape, and I'm really looking for that. The one bit of damage I'm really looking forward to doing on that one is that rear valance. Stupid as it may sound, yeah. So that was, they're mainly like the double builds I'm planning to do. So just moved them, and one which I got in recently was, and it's strange how things happen, you know. Just, I've been, strangely enough, wanting to build a Herbie, but none of the kits out there really sort of lent itself to me to want to actually go ahead and build that project. And then this one just sort of fell into my lap. I mean, it's got a bit of glue on a few pieces here and there, like, and this is a really great kit, to be quite honest with you. And I've ordered. I mean, the decals in this are absolutely toast, like. So, I was really surprised, but I went online, and in the UK I could find stuff straight away on eBay for 1/25, 1/24 scales. I've ordered some new decals for it, and then that'll be a nice little build, will that? I'm not even. I mean, I appreciate Beetles and get why they've got such a cult following, but for me, I'll take them or leave them. I've seen some beautiful ones. I've seen ones which I don't like, but you know. But yeah, I think this is a good starting point. You know, it's got a really good body in it. It's got the correct canvas hood on it. Really nice canvas cover on for the roof and what have you. So yeah, I mean, I know it's a bit of an all over the place kind of video, but you know, I think hopefully, just not my camera. Hopefully that, you know, that can sort of give you an idea of some of the things that I'm choosing for the future of the channel, whether it's going to be in the next 12 months or the next 12 years. Who knows with this game, like. So I mean, hopefully I can stick around for that long, like. And even though I've spoken about selling stuff out of my collection, I'm not selling any of my old stuff, you know. That it's all kind of run-of-the-mill stuff. And I mean, I will have a look around tomorrow, see if I've got duplicates of old builders or something, which I'm not going to use anymore. And so my plan is, I do want to sort of change one of the rooms into more of an office and somewhere where I can do this. At the moment, I'm just in another room, and the desk's in the corner of that other room. So I think the ultimate plan of me raising a few more funds is to put into that. And yeah, sometimes you just have to let stuff go. It's not a bad thing for me. You know, I think I've got a touch of ADHD where you know, my interest level will soon go. You know, I really want something, and then I've had it for 3 or 4 weeks and I have absolutely no interest in the kit. I've said it a million times before. Sometimes I just treat kits like a magazine. I'll buy it, get my couple of quid, which I'm going to probably lose on it, and sell it on, you know, unless I can make a little bit of money, which is all the best, all the better, like. So. But yeah, I mean, with that, I think we're coming up to 30 minutes, like. So, and we will show them in more detail. I want to put when I built that thing, I didn't have any correct hubcaps, so I just put sort of the best, closest things I could get to it. So I've got some correct hubcaps for that now. That's the only thing I'll change on that Ellen Mustang. So, like I say, once I've got a bit more time, the reason why I don't really want to do a video on, like, show too much of them is because I'll probably want to show them when I'm doing another Gone in 60 Seconds project. I've already got an idea in mind for that, but anyway, whatever you're doing for the rest of the weekend, we are on Sunday, so unfortunately I know it's going to be looking forward to going back to work for most of you in the morning, but yeah, whatever you're doing for the evening, have a great time, and we will see you in the next video. Okay, see you, bye.